You know, this is it's like a weird video to make because I don't really even know how to ask this question because this is what really isn't clear to me. And like I might have to like rethink how I'm asking this question, right? It's like and I'm not like, it's like if you're an adult and you want to be trans, I'm totally fine with it. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not against trans, whatever. My question is why, like, what does it mean to identify? Like, if you're a woman, you identify as a man. That's cool. But what is it that makes you want to look like a man? Or, it's like, it's hard to say because, like, okay, so let's say like this: a man's look, a man's what he's wearing, his hairstyle, beard, all that stuff. This is a socially constructed thing, right? So it's like it depends on like the fashion of the day. Some cultures have men wear dresses, right? Some cultures have men wear skirts, like kilts, whatever, like in Scotland, all that shit, right? In business, you have women who wear suits and you have men that wear suits, right? So it's like, why, when a woman identifies as a man, right? Like a trans man, I guess, in this case, like I'm not too good in my terminology, but I'm assuming trans man is a woman that want to be a man. Why do they need to do the procedures that make them look like a man? Does that make sense? I get the whole like argument. Well, I kind of get it, where it's like someone says, "I am a man trapped in a woman's body." What does that like? What does that even mean? Like, what do you mean like? I just don't understand because like, what? How do you know what a man is? Because that is a socially constructed thing. So it's like, how do you know that you are a man trapped in a woman's body if you, let's say, didn't know what a man is, right? Like, let's say you're born into this world, you have never seen a man, and then suddenly you, as a woman, realize that you're a man trapped in a woman's body. How do you even come to that realization? This is probably the most confusing topic for me regarding trans, okay? It's like, you're born in a certain body. Like, what do you feel uncomfortable in this body? Or, like, how do you know that you're a man in a woman's body? Do you just look at other men and you're like, that's what I feel inside? But it's like, if you didn't see that, would you still feel that inside? Right? Like, does that make sense? It's so hard to explain. Because, like, how do you know what you need to wear, right? It's like, why, okay, men who transition to women, why do they wear heels, skirts, and all the stuff that we think like, oh, a woman, she wears skirts, she wears heels, let's say, right? This is what we think of a woman. So why is it that when you're a woman trapped in a man's body, why do you need to transition into somebody, forget like the boobs and all that stuff, right? Why do you need to wear the clothes of the opposite sex? The only, like, because this, here's the thing, right? So it's like, fashion is a construct, right? So it's like fashion changes, depends on the human, what they like, what they don't like, right? You're a woman trapped in a man's body. You are literally, by wearing the opposite sex's clothes, right? Let's say you're born in a man's body. You become a woman. Okay, you identify as a woman. That's cool. What makes you want to wear the clothes, right? The way I'm thinking about this is like, okay, let's say you were born on an island alone, right? And you grew up on this island. You managed to survive, whatever, right? And you are a man who was born in a woman's body. Would you start wearing different shit in order to represent yourself as a man, even though you're in a woman's body, right? Does that make sense? I feel like it makes sense that it doesn't make sense. This is like probably my biggest thing with it. It's like, why are you going through these procedures when like you identify as a different sex, and that's cool, but why do you need to go through these procedures? Why do you need to wear different things? It's like, I know the saying, the clothes make the man, or maybe it's like the clothes don't make the man. I don't know. Don't judge a book by its cover. I don't even know, right? But it's like, okay, it's like, let's say it like this, okay? I'm a man, okay? Where's the camera? Here it is. Okay, I am a man. Okay, this is what I'm wearing. Now, if I suddenly want to identify as a woman, why would I change my clothes? I just don't get that. I'm not wearing this because it's men's attire. I'm wearing it because it's clothes, because it's like sports clothes I like to wear. I like to wear shorts. I like to wear shirts, right? It's like, it's kind of hot, so I'll open this. But it's like, I don't understand why you need to go through all of this change in your appearance for what you feel inside. I just don't get that. Right? It's like, you know. Anyways, so I saw this article. Transgender men can get pregnant. Here's what they wish more people understood. When Danny Wakefield gave birth to their first child in 2020, it brought to light a string of issues faced by transition parents in the healthcare system. I had a really hard pregnancy, who is transgender, but also uses they, them pronouns. Tell Yahoo Live. During emergency room visits, Wakefield says they were met with snickers from nurses, as well as doubt, disbelief, and a lack of knowledge from physicians ill-equipped to handle their needs. I mean, all they had to, like... First of all, this is obviously hearsay, because it's like, you know, objection, hearsay, right? It's like, it's what they felt was happening. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't there. They were. They made this report. And again, people like to over-exaggerate to make the news. Okay, but either way, let's assume everything they say is right, okay? So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. In one instance, it took an hour and a half to get them to treat me because they didn't believe I was pregnant. See, I don't feel like that really, like, I don't know. I never been to the hospital for pregnancy, so I don't know. But as far as I've understood, unless you're like in labor, like your water broke, and like even after your water broke, like they're waiting for a certain amount of like contraptions, they don't really care about you, right? It's like, yeah, it's coming, but you're not there yet. It's like, we can put you in the resting room or whatever, but you know, like as far as I understand, it's like, it's not like there's like 100% person on you hours before, like, you know, you're actually giving birth. Like usually, like, it depends on the contraptions, right? Now they can give you a room, obviously, but it depends on the hospital. Doctors and nurses will talk quietly among themselves, asking each other questions about me instead of asking me directly, the patient who's sitting right in front of them. I mean, okay, look, if you feel like people are not going to be confused, I'm sorry. Like, you know, it's like a bit of self-awareness. You're like, even if, like, let's say this is completely normal and whatever, it's still a rare case. If someone came into the hospital with two heads, they would probably be talking amongst themselves and not want to ask the person stuff. You know, it's like about like, whoa, dude, did you see this person has two heads? You're an anomaly right now. I'm sorry, like, what do you expect? Right? It's like, yeah, it is what it is. Like, you're different from everyone. Yeah, good job, right? It's like, it's fine. Like, it's not. I don't understand why people are offended by, like, you're clearly an anomaly. Everyone knows this. Like, don't try to hide it, right? It's like, you are different, right? The percentage of people who are trans is very, very low. As popular as it is now to be trans, it's still very, very low. Let alone give birth. Okay, like, it's a pretty new trend. So, yeah, no shit. Like, of course, it's Of course, it's like they're gonna have questions that they might be too afraid to ask you. Let alone, by the way, if they ask you questions, you might call them inconsiderate. So, I'm just saying it's an option. I'm not saying you would do it, but it is an option, right? It's like a lot of times people don't want to go and ask questions. They want to ask their peers first. People who are not going to judge them right away for being clueless or anything like that. So, I mean, yeah, stories like Wakefield's are not uncommon. Pretty uncommon. They're not uncommon in the sense that it's like probably in every trans pregnancy you're going to have a similar situation, but they're uncommon in the sense that trans pregnancies are very uncommon. Says Dr. Juno Obedin Maliver, assistant professor in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Stanford University School of Medicine. That's mainly because the medical establishment and society at large has little knowledge about pregnancy in the trans male population. Look, yeah, I'll give you that. But honestly, if you just say, I was born, like, literally coming to the hospital, I'm pregnant, I know I look like a man, I used to be a woman, I transitioned, boom, done. Like, I mean, like, it's not, you don't have to, like, go, like, superbolic about this. Like, yeah, I used to be a woman, and now I'm a man, I transitioned, I still have a uterus, I'm pregnant, my water broke, blah, blah. Like, that's pretty much it. Now, they might still look at you funny and all that stuff because, yeah, you're still uncommon, you're still an anomaly, but, like, yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's not that they have little knowledge about pregnancy, they're just not used to someone looking like a man being pregnant. Wow. I am sure when the first woman ever got pregnant, people were fucking losing their shit. Like, what the fuck is going on? Okay? Like, I mean, I'm sorry. It's like, you're an anomaly, okay? We grew up in a world with books from preschool on up that until very recently have not imagined or really represented the diversity of communities as they are. Well, I mean, because usually a woman looks like a woman, but again, what is a woman, right? So, none of our systems have been designed to none of our systems have been designed to delineate the difference between somebody's gender, somebody's pregnancy capacity. I'm glad they didn't use the word sex. If you just told them my sex is woman, my gender is man, maybe they, like, again, like, it's probably the wording. It's like, give your doctor information. I'm sorry, like, you go to the doctor, give them all the information you can. Really, it's like, it's not like a police interrogation where you want to say like as little as you can. To the doctor, you kind of want to say a lot of things. It's like, hey, I know this is probably not what you're used to. I used to be a woman, now I'm a man. Check this out. I got a baby. That's not changing. Obviously, it will, due to a growing demand from transgender patients, and because more and more are sharing their stories. Yeah. But Obdin argues until society acknowledges the basic truth that anyone born with the uterus, ovaries, and tubes. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure society acknowledges the basic truth that anyone born with the uterus, ovaries, and tubes has the capacity to become pregnant. What they didn't acknowledge or didn't understand is that you, who don't look like someone who was born with a uterus, ovaries, and tubes, would have a baby inside. Okay. Also, from the outside, you just look like you have a big gut. Like, again, because you're a dude, right? So yeah. But either way, like, this video is not really about this. I mean, this is just to show that it's like, yeah, is there awareness? No, of course not. Is it weird? Yeah, but honestly, look, if you're a transgender patient, unless your doctor knows you personally, yeah, give the information. Like, even if doctors would start being taught about this in school, which they probably are by now, you would still need to share this information if you just come to the doctors. It's like, you still need to share information. It's like, hey, I used to be a woman, now I'm a man, I'm pregnant. I'm pretty sure a doctor would understand what you mean. Now, them looking at you funny or not, that's a different story. But least knowing how to treat you, you know, knowing that you're not lying. Okay, anyways, but yeah, and this is not really about that. My question is really, why? Why do you want to look like this? Like, why do you want the beard? It's like, okay, so for example, me, it looks like I have a beard, right? But it's like, it's really like, it's not really much of a beard. This is like 3 months or 4 months of not shaving, okay? Like, literally, like from zero to hero, you know? 3 or 4 months. So I can't really grow a beard. A lot of guys have like massive gaps here. They can't really grow a beard. Some guys, honestly, like can't even grow a beard. That doesn't make them less of a man or more of a man, right? This whole argument of like, oh, this guy's less manly or more manly because of his beard. Some guys just can't grow a beard. Why do women who transition to men want to grow a beard? Like what is this? Like, what is this need? Like, this is what a man looks like. How do you know that this is what a man looks like? Does that make sense? Right? It's like, why, if you're a man transitioning to a woman, why do you know that a woman looks like this, wears this, walks in heels, you know, does this, right? It's like, how do you know? Right? Because all it is really, it's like, well, I want society to accept, to look at me as a woman. But why? It's a very personal thing. You know? I used to have like really long hair when I was a bit younger, like hair pretty much like middle of my back, almost to my ass. Okay? And many times I would sit like back in the busing days, right? I would sit in the back of the bus and a guy, like the bus driver, usually a guy, would say, ma'am, this is your stop, or something like that. This was like when I used to work at a hotel and they would give us like these private bus rides. Okay, and many times this person would confuse me and think I was a woman. I never got offended. It's like, yeah, because, you know, I look like this, right? I didn't care. Because, like, I know I'm a man. If I know I'm a man, I don't care if someone calls me a woman. I don't understand why you want to look a certain way to be a certain way. Like, what you look like and what you are don't have to align? Does that make sense? To me, it does. Like, how should I say this? Okay, so for example, I don't like wearing suits, okay? I'll wear one, like, for some stuff, sure. But most times I won't, right? If I go to court, I will. You know, it's like respect to the place that I go to. But I don't wear suits. It doesn't make me less of a man. I like to wear my fucking sweats, you know? My fucking shirts, shorts, and all that stuff. So I don't understand what is this obsession with people who transition to wear the opposite sex's clothes. Right? I don't understand this need. Because the clothes are a social construct. They're not a personal construct. That's it. That's literally what I'm confused about. And just as an example, okay, we have this this video here, okay? This is you know, I just googled like African people because I remember that they have like their clothing is very similar between men and women, okay? Right, so like this guy is wearing very similar to her, even though it's a bit different, but hey, you know what? It's very similar to these, right? This, what she's wearing is very similar to what he's wearing. And it's like, so if this woman want to identify as a man, her clothes would, like, she wouldn't really need to change her clothes, right? She's pretty much already wearing what he's wearing anyways. If he wanted to change to a woman, he wouldn't need to change anything, really. He would just have to be identified as a woman. So it's like, I don't understand this obsession with looking like the opposite sex when you identify as the opposite sex. Anyways, yeah, if you can explain to me in the comments below, if you can refer me to a video, because honestly, until I get this, I probably can't really understand why trans are making a big deal out of everything. Straight up. I get the whole like trans rights and stuff. Yeah, I get that. I'm all for people having the same rights, equal rights all across the board. Don't get me wrong. right? It's like people are people. People have their own free choices. You want to identify, you want to be a man, identify as a woman. You're an adult, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. No complaints, and you should have the same rights as everyone. You should be judged by everyone the same way everyone's getting judged. Yeah, sure, whatever. I'm wrong. I just don't understand the obsession of people transitioning, like literally doing physical alterations to their body to look like something that they weren't born with, right? It's, I mean, don't we call that just, what is it called? Isn't body dysmorphia? But it's the same as like with weights, right? Pretty sure body it's more mental health condition where a person spends a lot of time worrying about flaws in their appearance. That's yeah, so that's pretty much what I think it is, right? So isn't the whole reason to do that is because of body dysmorphia, right? Like changing from looking like a man to looking like a woman because you identify as a woman. Same as like, you know, I'm overweight, me going and getting a surgery to remove my fat, right? It's like, why not just like, you know, like, yeah, I can work for it, sure, but it's like, you know, or maybe even looking healthy and still thinking I'm unhealthy. Isn't that like also body dysmorphia, right? So yeah, I just don't understand what, like, it can't be that everyone who is trans has a body dysmorphia disorder. Okay? And if it can be, then doesn't that speak for itself that there's a mental illness in the trans? You know, I'm not saying there is, because I don't want that fucking toxicity here. I don't care. I'm saying, fuck it. Like, even if there is, fuck it, whatever. Like, it is what it is. But wouldn't this imply it then? Anyways, yeah, that's my question to the trans community. How do you make sense of it? Because I certainly can't. That's the video. Comment below, give me a link if you got it. Send me all the hate you want, I don't care. But until this question's answered for me, I really can't understand the urgency in anything that has to do with trans, aside from human rights violations. Aside from that, I cannot understand pretty much anything regarding anything that is pretty much like the trans urgency to do anything, especially for kids. Especially for kids. Thanks for watching. See you next one. Peace out. Take care. Yeah, take care.